Welcome everybody to the Fox 3 Phoenix channel, and I am your host, Govinator. And today you can see we are in a new plane. It is the F-86 Sabre. So I think it's going to be the last little plane that we're going to add to the Korean War front. Basically, we've got World War II planes, P-80, F-84, F-86, MiG-15, that kind of stuff. So, anyways, it's just a really cool plane. You can see this is it. Look to the right here. Yep. That's it, pretty much it. It's definitely got a lot more, they're a little bit more complicated, I think, than the MiG, but actually much easier to start up. So the first thing you got to do, just like the previous one, is request ground power.
Chief, turn on the ground power.
And you'll see those little triple landing gears to the left there. They have the white and red slash marks there. Boom. Now they're on, along with the, I think it was the fuel quantity gauge lifted over. Next thing we're going to go do is check our hydraulics. It's this switch on the left side on the top. Let me see if I can mark it for you. And we're going to end up pushing it down, I think. And then, yep, you can see we've got the hydraulic pressure. And up. I don't know what the up does, but we have hydraulic pressure. Woohoo! And then the next thing we're going to do is turn the master arm switch, or master power, battery power on. Or I think it's a master engine switch. Right there, and then the battery goes down, there's the switch below it, and it will go down for a couple seconds and then up, and that will turn the engine on to get it started. And you can see once we get to that 300 RPMs and the little white gauge there, it's really 3%, we have to press the home key, which brings the throttle up one notch. Then this will bring the power up to about 7% or 8%. And once you get it there, you do the home key again, and that brings the throttle to idle. And now you can hear the whole thing is getting started. So, really cool. Let it just come up to power here. In the meantime, we can start messing with our radio button, which is right there, and you can turn it. I usually put it at loop, and then this one we turn on as well. I think this is the radio navigation. I have to learn more about it still. But we've got that going, and let's see, our power's coming up. That is good. So many buttons over here on the right side. I always think I'm forgetting one. And so then, let's see, what's the next step? We're going to, let's see if we can disconnect the ground power. Here we go. Sorry, I'm dealing with a keyboard, and I wear a VR headset, so I have to remember where everything is if I feel.
Copy.
So, okay, we have the ground power off now.
Ground power is now off.
Well, now it's off. Okay. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is close the canopy. So you can see there's that little trim switch. I accidentally hit the wrong direction. You want to push it forward, so that will close it. There we go. And everything is now quiet. Not really, it's still a jet. But there's a little oxygen valve on the bottom. There's that green one I just flipped forward. So now we're getting oxygen inside the airplane. And then the last step is, obviously, we want guns. I always go to all guns, because why would you only use some of the guns? And then this switch needs to be turned to guns as well, unless you're going to use missiles. Obviously, that's what the other one's for. And that's it, guys. We have officially turned on an F-86 Sabre. So, and oh, I forgot, there's speed brakes that are always deployed when you start off in the back there. You definitely need to get those closed, and they're now closing. Because when you go to take off with your speed brakes on, you'll just find it's really annoying. Bet it'll still take off, but you don't want to mess with that. So now it's time to go taxi. And this thing has a nose wheel steering button, so you just press this button and it'll start turning the steering wheel. And I'm going to skip to where we're on the runway. Okay, here we are on the runway. Make sure we have everything set right. Looking at my gauges, going over everything. You want to have your flaps down just a little bit until I get to in just a second here. Want to make sure everything's looking good. Alright, so let's see, there's the flaps. Boom, we've got them down just a little bit. Alright. I think everything is set. I think it's go time, guys. Cue the Top Gun music. We don't have that because we have not paid for the rights. So you'll just have to deal with me instead. Alright, let's make it happen. And I always like to slowly throttle up because these engines can get a little finicky. I think it's fine if you mash it in this one, but I just don't know for sure, so I always take it a little slow. See, I drifted to the right a little bit. I'm just waiting until I get rudder authority, which I have now. We're going to start rotating at 100 miles an hour, which is where we're at, and then it should lift off at about 120. Alright, then we need to put our gears up, which is the little lever on the left side of the plane. I just pushed it up there. You can see it in the bottom left. And then bring our flaps up as well. See the little indicator just showed we were up. See, our flaps are up. That's good. Okay, we're flying an F-86, and as usual, I do a barrel roll to get started, and then pull up and have some fun. Oh yeah. Can't do this in my old World War II planes. You can, but it doesn't look like this. And see how much higher we are already? This plane is so awesome, and its roll rate makes the MiG-15 look pretty slow. I know the MiG-15 and this are considered equals, and I still do believe that, but this one feels like it's better. I'm biased. I'm an American, and like I said, I'm just biased. It's not any better. It's actually quite about much about the same. Let's go do a quick, as usual, we're going to go buzz the airport, and then I'll take it into the vertical, because that's what I like to do, just to kind of demonstrate what does this plane have in terms of capability. Alright, here we come. Let's see, we're going Mach 0.65. I love how they have Mach gauges and then their indicated airspeed. We just pull up into the vertical, 90 degrees. And this thing will roll too. Look at that. You can't do that in the MiG. And we are just going vertical here. Can't go like this long. We're at 10,000 feet now. And it's just awesome plane. I can only imagine being able to do this stuff. Alright, finally she did stall out. Let's get a little speed back in. You can see we're at 200 indicated knots right now. 250. Let's just rotate it around and bring the nose up. Yeah. Now we're scooting. God, these things are awesome. I would have been fired for screwing around too much in the airplane if I was back in the Air Force in these days. Love with the not the contrail, but the vapor coming off the wings and the edges. Let's go buzz the airport one more time. And then we're going to go up big time. Now the big difference between this and the MiG-15 is this plane was actually capable in a dive of exceeding the sound barrier. MiG was not, and if you got even close to the sound barrier in the MiG, the controls pretty much all froze up. Yeah, we're buzzing this guy going pretty fast. Oh! And, but this plane, see, we're at 500 indicated knots at 0.8 Mach, 0.75, 0.7, 0.65. I mean, and look at that, we're at 10,000 feet, climbing. Yeah, not bad. 13,000 feet before I leveled off. There's no prop plane that can do that. 13,000 foot climb like that, right up in one instance. Just wow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue climbing. We're going to get to around 30,000 feet because I've tried this at 22,000. Oh yeah, no, I like the guns too. God, they're cool. I think these are going to be easier to use, but we'll get to the gun later. It's kind of complicated, not like really complicated, but just more than just a point and shoot type of gun, but I'll get to that later. We're going to instead continue climbing to about 30,000 feet. I did this at 22,000 feet, and I didn't remember to get as fast as I could beforehand. And yeah, I exceeded Mach 1, but I went straight to the ground just for fun. I was goofing around. But this time I'd actually like to survive. So my plan is to go up to about 30,000 feet and then drop the nose, and we'll watch the Mach gauge go over Mach 1. I see it can go to Mach 1.5. I'm not sure. At first, I wouldn't want to be in a Sabre going anywhere near Mach 1.5. Heck, after Mach 1.2, I'm not sure if it will do any good. But we can get over Mach 1 in a dive. So it's going to take a while. I'm not going to make you guys wait this whole time while I sit here and fly up. So I will just check in with you when we get to altitude. Okay, here we are. We're a little over 30,000 feet in the air. I think we're at 31,000 roughly. And I'm trying to bring the speed up just a little bit because before I hit this dive, I'd like to already be going pretty fast. And that's down there is where the airport is. We're at Mach 0.65 going horizontally, which is good. So now when we go down, we can start off at 0.65. And we will be good to go. Alright, here we go, guys. There's the airport. Come on. Oh yeah, nice and slow. Oh boy, here we go. We're going straight down, Mach 0.85. 0.9, 0.95, Mach 1. Mach 1.02 or 3 right now. Yeah, and now I'm pulling out. But look at that. I can tell you right now, I have no aileron control. Now I do that. Now I've slowed down, but do have elevator control at over Mach 1, which none of those are true for the MiG-15. So this thing can go, in a dive faster. Still maintain its controls somewhat well. As you can see, we're now back at 0.9, 0.95. Oh my gosh. Coming up to almost Mach 1 here. I'm going to pull up because now it's time for me to just start getting slow. There we go. Do a nice loop. Alright. Because I actually do want to bring this thing in for a landing, and right now we are going fast as heck, and we're still trying to lose altitude. So we're going to need a few turns to move around. Anyone that actually watches all my videos knows that I never actually fly the pattern properly, even though I know how to do that. I'm actually a private pilot. I have a really fast Cessna 172 I get to go fly. It's amazing. But yes, I fly the pattern when I use the Cessna. When I'm in the sim, I usually try to slow down by doing these loops, because, if I have to explain to you why, well, you just don't get it. Alright, you can see I've got the engine cut to 70% throttle. I don't actually know how much I'm supposed to use, so we'll just see how 70% does. A lot of these older jet engines really don't make any power at under like 70%, so honestly, you get all of your power, at least in the MiG-15, and when my father used to fly his T-33, he would tell me only between about 80 and 100% throttle is where you actually make any power. So, I think that holds true for this one. It definitely held true for the MiG. It's probably not quite as bad as the T-Bird, but, the point is it may not be 80% less, but it might be more like 65, 70% more, or where it makes power. I even cut it to more, as you can see, though. I went down to 55% because we needed to slow down. That's why I'm doing all these fun turns. I want to get to under 200 indicated knots. We're at about 210 right now, as you can see. The Mach meter only goes down to 0.5, so if you're under that, they want you using the indicated airspeed, which pretty much makes sense, right? If you're going slow, compared to what Mach is going, you need to know that it's probably the exact speed. All about indicated airspeed. Alright, now I do actually need to get a little power to keep going. Good. Now we're sort of seeing where's the power band. It really is at about 70%. You start getting some power, so pretty much holds true for this engine as well. It really only makes power at the top. Alright. Gotta get our flaps a little bit. Our gears are down. Get this thing lined up with the runway just a little bit. Flaps in more. That'll help slow us down a little bit more. Get more like 65% throttle. So yeah, this thing really does make some good power at about 65% and higher. Let's get our flaps all the way dialed in. That'll really slow us down, but also let us fly slow. See, we got an indicated about 160 knots. I think I'm going to slow it down because I can still trade a little altitude. Now we're at 150 knots. Getting pretty on final. Give a little power just to make sure we get to the runway. And then bring it back down. Alright, now you can see I'm cutting throttle. We're going to flare. We are down. And then the nose, man, the nose just really wants to come down. I was pulling back. Not all the way, but I was pulling back. Just did that. Anyways, guys, congratulations. It's awesome. We just did it. We have flown, and I'm putting the speed brakes on because somebody did not map the wheel brake because, like I said, this is the second landing I've ever done, and that would have been helpful. Instead, we're going to do some nice zigzagging and try not to flip this plane over. You will flip the plane over in these actual module planes. Like some of the mods don't actually flip over anything if you know, be a dummy. That's why I've done videos where it looks like I'm doing a pirouette in an airplane. Ooh, gosh, a little too crazy there. But point is, I've got the nose steering button. Definitely don't forget to map your wheel brakes. I'll be doing that right after I finish this. And yeah, we'll pull over here. Let's not try and flip that black sign. Oh boy, I'm gonna flip that thing. Let's see how we do. Woo! We cleared it just barely, so we're good. Alright, now let's see if I can turn this thing off. Let's come to a complete stop first. Alright, got the throttle set to idle. Okay, and then the next step is we are going to go to that battery, or the master engine arm. I flipped it off, and now turn the battery off. And then, in order to get the cockpit going next, we're going to need to turn off our oxygen, which is on the bottom left, that green knob. I just rolled it back. Battery has to come back on. There we go. Now the thing's off. Okay. Put the battery off now. Okay, now we're officially done. Thanks everybody for watching. This is the Governator of the Fox 3 Phoenix channel.